I'm Dr. Lindsay Coble.
Dr. Noelle Crosby, and this is the Sound Sisters, the Hearing Diaries. And today we're joined by Dr. Tamarra Friedrichsen, an audiologist, practice owner, and someone whose story is filled with determination. She took over a legacy practice, paid off a six-figure business loan in less than 5 years, and has continued to grow her practice while navigating chronic pain and the emotional journey of infertility. Lots to talk about today. We're excited to hear the story behind this success. So, welcome, Tamara, and let us know, tell us a little bit about what drew you into audiology in the first place.
Yeah. So first in audiology, I did that typical thing where you go to school to be a speech language pathologist. I actually initially started school to be a journalism major, and it just wasn't a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
So I transferred to a school that had a speech pathology program. And in my junior year, and my very first class, actually, instead of intro to communication disorders, was intro to audiology.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I fell in love with audiology. I decided I couldn't sit in, a classroom and make a kid say R's and S's. I know there's so much more to speech language pathology
Mm-hmm.
than just that. But the ear and kind of the technology component
Mm-hmm.
really drew me in and drew me in hard. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
from like my first week of after transferring, I knew audiology was where I wanted to end up.
I
I
love
love
that.
that. Was there a person or experience that inspired you to go into audiology, or was it just that class?
Part of it was that class and my
Mm-hmm.
professors. So I
Mm-hmm.
took my undergrad at the University of South Dakota, which is where Lindsay Jorgensen
Yeah.
is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Lindsay Jorgensen is. At that time, she wasn't on staff yet, but Dr. Terry
No
Bellis.
more. You know, she left.
No, I'm sorry. Um, but at
Just
that time,
recently, you know?
okay. So I just haven't gotten the memo
Yeah,
yet. That's in the
exactly.
Me
Yeah.
letter.
either. Me either,
Uh,
Smile.
but at that time, Dr. Terry Bellis, who is huge in APD, was
Okay.
the chair of the department. And then we had a brand new professor, Dr. Marnie Johnson, who really just drew me in and was able to kind of, let me do more audiology observance hours than I really needed,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of just let me be part of learning about hearing aids and being hands-on with them.
Yeah.
But really,
Awesome.
there wasn't, you know, anyone in my personal life that drew me into that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
And
great
so looking back,
professors, which is so important. Great professors,
right,
which is sometimes hard
oh,
to
that
find
makes such,
as an
yeah, that
undergrad,
makes such a
even. Yeah,
yes,
that's
difference.
awesome.
professors make all the difference. That's for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you have someone who will mentor you and just, really
Mhm.
help you find that joy in it. I love that. That's
Mm-hmm.
really cool.
Yeah. Yep. And
Now,
finding, seeing that other people loved it so much and there were so many different opportunities, like especially at South Dakota, because of Dr. Bellis's APD, we knew it wasn't just about hearing aids.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
so
at that
that's
time
really
too,
important too.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Sam Atchison was there too. And so he's an audiologist who has hearing loss and a cochlear implant. So we got to learn a
Wow.
lot about that and growing up in kind of deaf and hard of hearing culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like, as an undergrad, I got a really
Yeah, that's
nice
great.
introduction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And
rare
so
as an
looking
undergrad.
back where you were
Hmm.
as a, do you think you're going to go into journalism and here
Hmm.
you end up in this completely different field?
Hmm.
What would your younger self think about where you are today? Would it
Um,
surprise you
yeah,
or?
I think she'd be very surprised. In some ways, when I was in junior high, I never really knew what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, oh, you should go into health sciences of some sort. I have a lot of nurses in my family and I love them, but I cannot deal with the things they deal
Mm-hmm.
with. And so I'm glad I found kind of an offshoot in healthcare
Mm-hmm.
and wellness. And, I get to provide my patients with connection to their people, to their community, sometimes even back to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So neat. So let's talk about you bought a practice. So you joined the practice before eventually becoming the owner. What was that transition and leap of faith like?
Yeah, that was a really interesting kind of story anyway. I was hired on, I accepted the position in May of 21 and graduated like 2 weeks later. So
Mm-hmm.
I was stressing a little bit about a job. So I found this practice in the Quad Cities of Iowa and Illinois. And they were looking for a new audiologist. One of my hearing aid reps connected me to this from my externship. And honestly, I fell in love with the practice. I was able to kind of do what I needed to do and what I wanted to do hearing aid wise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we are in network with the John Deere insurance, which at that time was a little bit different. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But that just meant that we had a huge patient base that was coming back every 3 years for new hearing aids.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to learn a lot as an audiologist, both, with selling and being able to maintain those relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then after I'd been here about 6 years, the owner was looking to retire. I don't blame her. She had owned the practice since the mid 80s,
Mm.
and this was now about 2010 or sorry, 2015 or so. And so at that time, her son took over for a little while. He was not an audiologist or in the industry, but he was going to join and run the business. And after about a year of working here, he decided it just wasn't the right fit for him. Um, and so the owner kind of pulled me and the other audiologist aside and said, I'm retiring. Would either one of you like to maybe think about this? Um, and I'll be honest, I was scared to even think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But what made me more scared was potentially having corporate ownership.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I figured I could do better than corporate and I could maintain our patients. Nothing bad against corporate, but we've all kind of seen
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's that personal touch that patients are used to and they're going to keep
Yeah,
coming.
Yeah.
Uh,
for sure.
and you're not going to see huge, huge changes. So actually on my oldest daughter's first birthday, I met with an attorney to write up the like purchase and all of that. And then we officially signed 6 months later. So we had a pretty good transition time. And the previous owner actually stayed on as a provider for
Mm.
5 years in a
Oh my
part-time basis.
gosh.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
It was one of those I was glad to have her around for certain things and glad to maintain
Mm-hmm.
that patient presence for her. But when her license expired, we decided it's time. We're
Mm-hmm.
ready. You're ready to be done and you're ready to get to travel to Arizona and see your grandkids more.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a really nice transition. I know there have been other transitions for other, especially legacy practices, where
Yeah.
as soon as that document is signed, the
Yeah.
person that was here is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
And then you're
so
left
I
with
did really,
something
yeah,
that you
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I
don't.
really
Yeah.
appreciated that. I think it
Yes.
helped to a lot of the patients knew me because they saw me around
Mm-hmm.
for, 7 years before I took
Yes.
over that ownership. Um,
Yeah.
Such a good transition. Yeah, like you said,
yes,
we've all seen it in the industry over the past, I feel like few years, it's happening
yeah,
more and more, but just kind of nasty transitions or
yeah,
corporate transitions from private to corporate. It's just, yeah, that's a really fabulous story for your practice and the legacy of that
Yes.
practice.
And what was your biggest fear, in buying it? Was it the managing it or
mhm.
I don't know, just talk to us about that a little
Yeah, I
bit.
had a couple big fears. One, the financial investment,
Mhm.
because buying a legacy practice, especially with three full-time offices and one satellite clinic,
Yeah.
that's a
Mhm.
lot of money. So
Mhm.
I had, even before I did my offer, we had a few different valuations done of the
Mhm.
clinic. And I knew what the owner was asking, and it was kind of one of those, okay, let's figure this out.
Mhm.
Everyone's coming in with, a pretty tight range, so I know where we're going, and that was where the owner was asking. So
Mhm.
that was a good thing. That it wasn't way out. And then, of course, managing the clinic.
Mhm.
We at that time there were 8 employees, and I was the youngest of them all. So I knew there was going to be some butting of heads with transitioning.
Mhm.
Thankfully, it wasn't terrible. It kind of was one of those things I learned in the first couple of months, not to take things too personally.
Mm.
I
Um,
love it.
yes, that's a
Mm.
big thing as an owner I've learned. And then the last one is the biggest, probably the biggest fear, even after, financial and taking over, kind of HR and things, was actually not letting the previous owner down. You
Mm.
know,
Mhm. Mhm.
her dad had built the clinic, and then she had grown it to what it was,
Mhm.
and I didn't want to let her down,
Mhm.
and I still feel that way.
I'm sure you're making her proud. I'm sure she's
I,
Yes.
proud.
yeah, we're doing
Okay,
our best.
let's talk about that. So
Yeah.
you paid off the six-figure business loan in 5 years. That is
Wow.
Yes.
incredible. Um,
Yes.
how in the heck did you do that?
Uh,
And what worked? What worked and what was important to you in that time frame and how'd you do it?
yeah. We made a lot of sacrifices.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, with my accountant, I had to talk with him about what my own personal like payroll would be
Mm-hmm.
from the clinic because we are an LLC with an S Corp designation, which I've
Mm-hmm.
learned way more about accounting than I ever thought I would.
I know, I know. I was just having this conversation with another new practice owner.
Yeah.
LLC S Corp's like, oh.
Mm,
Yep. Yep.
yeah.
So we had to figure out what I could reasonably, be paid without putting up red flags.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, and then honestly, we paid a lot pretty cheap rent for a long time for some spaces that maybe weren't the newest, most modern,
Mm-hmm.
but they were clean. They did what we needed them to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I love it. One of my newer patients goes, "You know what? I really like you. You're not fussy."
Oh, yeah, yeah. Hey, it's
I was
exactly
like,
what we
"Well,
want
thank
to
you."
be. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And part of it too is not always having the latest and greatest equipment,
Yeah.
um, but knowing
Mm,
that at some point we could upgrade.
mm-hmm.
Once the business loan was paid off, we upgraded from our old dinosaur Zodiacs, not the Madsen Zodiacs, but the super old ones that took up a whole table and made a lot of noise. We got to update those and we've updated our audiometers. We're starting to update our real ear measurement equipment and hip
Mm-hmm.
boxes now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of Verifit ones still floating around, but we've
Mm-hmm.
upgraded to the MedRx systems,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
which has been
Love
really
that.
nice.
And that's what
Yes.
I use. Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
used to. I have a Verifit one too in the corner, but I
Oh
pulled
yeah,
it back
mine's
out
right
again.
behind me. You can kind of
Yeah.
see the
Yeah, I'm
Still
looking
blurred
at
going.
screen.
mine.
Yeah.
Still going.
Yep. So there are, there's so many things you can do within a practice to, be frugal and save money. And, we bulk buy. We had a great database to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned those John Deere workers
Yeah.
previously. We also, we made some sacrifices and we're part of some third parties, like
Mm-hmm.
True Hearing for a long time because that brought money and people
Yeah.
in. And that
Mm-hmm.
helped us pay off our loans. And
Mm-hmm.
once that loan was paid, which I did end up sacrificing towards the end to get it paid at 5 years because I wanted it paid, uh, that I used some of my personal finances to finish the
Get it
last
Right.
done.
it off, to
Nice.
get it
Mm-hmm.
off. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I purchased the practice January 1 of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can imagine what came 2 years
Oh my
later
gosh, yeah. Oh,
really scared me.
uh-huh.
Um, and what kind of slowed down paying off that loan just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. But
Yeah.
still
But
amazing.
you still
Still
did
But
it.
amazing.
still,
Mm-hmm.
it's paid off. It's been great. We've been
Mm-hmm.
able to upgrade locations for one of our offices. We've been able to invest in, like, as I mentioned, new equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably going to get to this next, but I've been able to grow the practice.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so
Now
let's
we
talk
have,
about that next. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
like how do you,
yeah,
when you think about, what you were saying about you didn't want to let her down. So kind of
yeah.
share with us how you feel like you've gone even one step further, right?
Yeah, yep. So we've been able to maintain the businesses we had, and the patient base that we had, even through some of these struggling with figuring out what third parties are worth it for our
Mm-hmm.
practice to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't love third parties, but you have to do what you have to do as a
Mm-hmm.
I
business
totally
owner.
get
There is
that.
no judgment on my behalf if someone is like, yeah, this is growing my business, it is working for us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you have to know what your cost of doing business per hour is,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can determine if that's worth it or not.
Mm-hmm.
But since the loan has been paid off, we've been able to grow our staff. When I started, we had, let's see, it was me and another full-time audiologist, and the previous owner was a hearing instrument specialist. We have grown now to where we have 4.5 audiologists on
Mm-hmm.
staff. Um,
Amazing.
the half is a part-time. We love her. She works part-time with our local area education agency in their Birth to Three program as
Oh,
their audiologist. And
mm-hmm.
then she gets to see the other side of the spectrum
Oh,
at our
that's
office
nice.
part-time.
Awesome.
Um,
Yeah.
that's been great. And she has given us, the rest of us, so much good education in pediatrics that we didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
I had been approached by a few different owners who were either looking to sell or retire. So I was able to buy two other part-time practices. And then we started another satellite in kind of a small town. So where I'm at in Iowa, I'm kind of, if you know what Iowa looks like with kind of that nose that pops out. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the top, the middle, and the bottom of that,
Oh,
Okay.
and
okay.
then a straight line down. And then two locations now in Illinois as
And
well.
what's like the distance from
Um,
the whole
Oh gosh, I'd
group?
have to do it because it's kind of hard. I think the farthest, like our farthest locations are 1.5 to 2 hours between.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Thankfully, I have really great staff, and from the foundation that the previous owner had built, I kind of knew how to manage staff from far away.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of make sure they're doing what they need to do without feeling like they're micromanaged or
Mm-hmm.
being watched on a camera, because that would freak me out.
Yeah.
You know, I have a good idea of what's going on in all the offices at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but we've been able to grow. But to make it easy for some of our seniors who maybe don't drive out of town anymore,
Mm-hmm.
that's why we've started some of these smaller satellite 1 day a week clinics,
Mm-hmm.
just so that they don't have to drive so far. Some of
Yeah.
them are still driving 30 to 40 minutes to see
Mm-hmm.
us.
Mm-hmm.
There are parts of Iowa where that's just
What it
even,
is.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's
it's
what
a
it
very
is.
Yeah.
different area
Yes.
than like where I practice, where I
Yeah.
know Lindsay's in a more rural area,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah, it's all different. You
yeah,
got to
it's
do
not
what
like
you
there's
need to
an
do.
audiologist, every other block.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There
How do
is
you
like,
how do you
oh,
manage your time with all those different locations? Do you have like 1 day a week is my business time? Do you see patients
yes.
5 days a week? What has worked for you at this point?
Yeah, I see patients currently 3.5 to 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mondays are my admin days.
Mm-hmm.
I um honestly, I sat down with my husband at about year 3 of ownership, and we decided my laptop stays at work.
Mm. I love
It
that.
does not come
Yeah.
home. So
Yeah.
I cut it off at 5 o'clock on weeknights, and it doesn't come home with me over the weekends.
Oh, that's
Mhm.
pretty
Good
Yes.
job.
We made that a
not
hard,
easy.
yes,
Yeah.
not easy. And yes, I still can check my email on my phone,
Yeah.
but not having my laptop makes things, you know,
A harder
I'm a
cutoff. Yeah.
millennial. There are things that are laptop task and there are things that are phone task. Um,
Say.
Yeah.
yes, I just bought my first plane tickets on my phone
Oh
instead of
God.
my
Yeah. That's a
laptop.
big step. I
So
know.
that was a huge
Mm-hmm.
step for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's been part of it. Having this one extra day to kind of do business things or have meetings
Mm-hmm.
has been almost life-changing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It also allows me to fill in for any staff member that might be gone on a Monday,
Mm-hmm.
whether
Right.
it's a provider or a front office staff. I
Mm-hmm.
really feel like as the owner, I need to be able to know how to do anyone's task.
Yeah.
Uh, and it helps me appreciate sometimes what our front office and support staff really is doing, especially
Mm-hmm.
those Monday morning phones.
I know.
Uh,
The Monday phones are
The
the
rough.
Monday
Monday
phones, the Monday
phones. Yep.
voicemails,
Yeah.
the Monday mail, because we aren't
Yeah.
open on Saturdays, and so all the mail comes at once from
Uh-huh.
weekend and Monday, and that can be a lot.
Uh-huh.
So I've seen that. And then I do travel between, honestly, 4 of my offices. I know
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like a lot, but
Yeah.
my normal schedule is I'm in one office 4 days a week and one office 1 day a week because it's a satellite clinic. By having the satellite clinic, it also allows me a little bit more admin time then as
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not always crazy busy there.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
usually just me. It's usually, our clean-in checks, maybe a test every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a easier schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a phone there, so I'm not bothered by
Well,
the phone.
that's nice. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Huge, huge.
that makes a
Yeah.
difference.
It does, yeah. And then I do travel to some of my other clinics. When I transitioned from provider to owner, I put a new audiologist in the clinic that I had started in. And so I still go there and I joke that that's where I see the trouble patients. Ones that either we can't figure out what's going on or
Mm-hmm.
the ones that will only see me. Because, there are
Mm-hmm.
those, especially when
Mm-hmm.
you have multiple locations you're traveling between.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So there's two clinics that I do that. I go once a month for just a few hours
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of see those patients that will only need to see me or the ones who need just squeezed in when we don't have time for anybody else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
seems like you have
Nice.
very much hands-on still with everything that you're,
Yes.
yeah.
And what a
I
good
don't think
work-life
I have any other
balance it
way.
seems like
Yeah.
for a mom, to
For a
Yeah.
mom.
make that hard
Yes.
decision to keep the computer at home. Sounds like you're doing well
I'm
Yeah.
doing what I
at
need
it.
to do.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful. Like during 2020, I started seeing a mental health counselor who
Mm-hmm.
specialized in working with small business owners.
Oh.
Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
And
love
so
that.
she really, helped me set those boundaries pretty firmly.
Was
Yeah.
she a
Um,
local
Yeah.
person or is she
she
somebody
is a
that,
local person to me.
okay.
She
That's
does
fabulous.
provide like Zoom, but I'm not sure. I think she's only licensed in Iowa.
Mm.
Okay. I was just
But
thinking there might be people out there that would be like, I want
Everyone
to
needs
see.
it. I know. I went a
yeah.
couple years ago. It's like everyone needs it. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It was very much necessary. Like even a few weeks ago, my family was on vacation and I did take my laptop just so
Mhm.
I could do the 5 minutes of book work I do every morning or,
Mhm.
firefight any emails in the morning, before my
Mhm.
girls were even awake. So
Mhm.
I could sit on this
You got
beautiful
to
porch
do
in
some
the
of
Smoky
that.
Mountains
Yeah.
with a cup of coffee in my laptop,
Yeah. Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Well, listen,
Makes
I
the
know
emails hurt less.
we have so much more too that we want to talk to you about besides just your business. Do you have anything else that you want to say about legacy, business, anything like that?
I would say for people considering starting their own versus buying a legacy,
Mhm.
the legacies can be intimidating, especially for the cost.
Mhm.
Um, but it's so well worth it. You have such a great, for the most part, foundation, especially if you've worked in that practice,
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
you
that's good
know what's going
advice.
on and that you
Mhm.
can take that and build upon it. Like the big thing, I didn't change much about day-to-day things. We got rid of some of the third parties that weren't paying us well or weren't easy to work with.
Mhm.
And then we, as providers, decided we were going to do best practices on
Mhm.
each and every patient. Before it was kind of pick and choose, or
Mhm.
some providers would do, speech and noise, some would do real ear, but we weren't all doing the same thing. And
Mhm.
so we decided at that point we were going to do that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Let's talk about your journey with chronic pain. So
Yeah.
tell us about that. When did
Yeah.
it start? How has that shaped your outlook on life, relationships? How do you handle it?
Yes, it's rough some days. Some days are worse than others. My pain tends to be very cyclical, so I can kind of predict when it's going to start happening. Um, I have changed so that in the clinic, yes, we still wear business professional. I haven't made the jump to scrubs yet.
I
That's
did
always a
during
great
COVID.
debate. I love that. I need the accountability of real pants, though. I can't have a stretchy waist, or I'm gonna fill that stretchy waist. But one of the changes I made for myself and that other folks could do too is we do not have to wear business shoes. So I
Hmm.
always try to have like the coolest Nikes
I love
or
that. Hmm.
with my business casual, which
Hmm.
at first I was like, oh, patients are going to hate this and complain. None of them have.
Really? You
Yeah.
think
None of
that they would interesting.
I
I
feel
have
like
a
they
lot.
probably think it's fun. They probably think
They
it's like
do.
cool shoes. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have like my Nike Dunks are in my
Oh,
clinic.
fun. Uh-huh.
So they're always commenting, oh, I love your blue shoes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
I do too.
Yeah.
I picked them out.
I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Blue to me is to purple for Noel.
Yeah, I
You
was
Oh
going to
yeah,
say, like,
yeah,
no, my shoes are purple,
yeah.
right?
I'm a
Yep.
big yellow fan. I'm a yellow fan over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yellow is my favorite, but it's not in my color season.
Oh
Yeah.
Like
yeah, there you go.
my
There you
color yellow. So I
Yeah.
had to
go.
figure it out.
Hmm.
And my clinic colors when I took over were blue and orange.
Oh,
So
there you
I
go.
was like, I'm going to do blue and not orange.
We're gonna
So
lean
that,
into blue. Yeah.
Lean into the
yeah.
blue.
So I think take the chance on the legacy practice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good advice. I like that. Because it would be, you look at the cost and you
Mhm.
just, it'd be very, something that would be scary, but you don't really want a corporate store, sorry, to have access
Yeah.
to.
Yep.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's
No.
probably a lot easier for them to have that. And I
Mhm.
say that corporate because we want to keep things independent here.
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
want you taking over the audiology community.
Yes. You can keep making your great hearing aids and focus on that.
Yes.
Let us focus on that patient care aspect.
Yeah. But tell us more about the chronic pain. Is it just like pain all over? Is it?
Um, a lot for me, and it changed after my second pregnancy. For the longest time after my second pregnancy, had neuropathy in my feet and legs.
Oh,
I've been working with different doctors and acupuncture and massage, and it's not as bad as it was, unless it's like -40 here in Iowa, which does happen occasionally, and then
Hmm.
that's awful. Um,
yeah.
there are days that are worse than others. I definitely have like heating pads, in my little desk drawer that I pull out and throw in the microwave occasionally.
Hmm.
A lot for me is just kind of working through it and just knowing that, unfortunately, yes, today is maybe a level 4, and maybe I don't ever go less than a level 2 of pain.
Hmm.
Um, but it's about management, just like we
Hmm.
tell our tinnitus patients, the tinnitus
Yeah.
isn't going to go away. Like,
Hmm.
but there are so many different ways we can manage it. We
Hmm.
can manage, breathing exercises. Yoga has been super helpful for me, which I haven't been practicing lately, and I can tell it's made a
It's
big,
so easy to
you know,
just like let it go. Like, I don't have time for
yes.
that today. Yeah. I hear
Yes,
you.
and then different supplements. Magnesium has
Hmm.
been huge,
Hmm.
and CBD has been
Hmm.
I was
so
going to
great
ask you about
to
CBD
kind of,
if that, yeah.
yeah, to relax that body and relax that flight or fight response. Um,
Hmm.
so that has really, really helped. All of this, of course, with under doctor's care and doctor's treatment and trying to figure out what's going on. I think it's really improved in the last probably 4 months, because I found a doctor that listened.
Oh, I love
I
that.
went in and I was crying and saying, I don't even feel human anymore. It's so bad. And she gave me very, succinctly said, okay, this is what we've done. Here are some other options we can try. Let's go for it. And so we're kind of sampling a few different things and trying to make it work. And I will say I used to live at probably a level 6 daily in pain. So, kind of hobbling around, just trying to make things work, trying to be the best mom, and partner to my husband that I could be, which I still can work on that yet more. Always can though,
Always
Always
right?
can.
work for that, right?
Um, but now I'm sitting most days at a level 0 to a 1. So
Oh,
whatever
Oh,
nice.
I
that's
Yeah.
found,
great.
works. And
Mhm.
I'm very, very thankful and grateful to have found this doctor to listen to me.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah. I'm sure that's how like what you were saying with the tinnitus patients,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure that that's how so many of them feel. So I'm sure that going through what you've gone through has helped you as a
yes,
clinician as well,
Hmm.
right?
it has. A lot
Yeah.
of our patient base either has tinnitus, which is a chronic issue. A lot of them have chronic pain issues, whether it's from injury or illness. Hearing loss is a chronic health issue.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it has allowed me a good amount of empathy,
Yeah.
and know what these patients are going through.
Hmm.
And it's added to now that I don't just want to stop at one thing with a patient. I want to listen to them more. I want to know what's going on, and let's try this, this, or this. And if that doesn't work, this is our next step. Uh,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
has, given me a whole different perspective, even now 15 years since graduating. I love that audiology is a place we can learn and grow.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, ever
And it's
evolving,
not
ever
all about the
evolving.
widget, just like
Yeah,
listening
yeah.
to what you're saying, it's so true.
So much more to it.
Yes.
A good provider who listens,
Yeah.
which, like you said, it took you years to find one for your chronic pain. It's, yeah,
Mhm.
you're willing to pay for that.
Um,
Let's talk
Mhm.
about your infertility journey.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Many people struggle with that, and it's really hard to talk about. And
Yeah.
there are many moms and many women in our career field. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So when we had our first daughter, it was one of those real simple, everything happened real quick. I mentioned earlier that I met with the attorney on my oldest daughter's first birthday about purchasing it. And we kind of knew at that time that I wouldn't be able to handle a pregnancy again because I have rough pregnancies,
Mm-hmm.
hyperemesis, all sorts of things. And so we kind of knew we wouldn't be able to even try until I had everything settled down at the office.
Mm-hmm.
And that honestly didn't happen until 2020, when I was able to hire on another audiologist.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we tried. We were very lucky in that we were always able to get pregnant rather easily.
Mm-hmm.
However, the second go round, nothing would stick. Like I
Mm-hmm.
would be pregnant for 6 to 9 weeks. And
oh,
yeah, yep. And then we would miscarry. We would find out something wasn't right. I actually during this time had two ectopic pregnancies,
oh yeah.
which were the first one was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty rough. And trying to manage a clinic while also in some ways trying to manage my own like personal feelings about it and
Yeah.
I didn't want other people to know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so that was kind of rough. And um, we were dismissed. Well, I dismissed myself from a very popular OB clinic around here after my third miscarriage.
Mm.
They told me I was too fat and too old.
Oh
So
no.
there was
That's
nothing more they could
lovely.
help me with.
Ugh. I feel like you hear that
And
story so many
yes,
times. It's like, come
yes.
on.
And so, going back to my primary care and telling her what's all been going on, and she was able to get me a referral for one of the leading doctors over at the University of Iowa, who just so happens to come to like the Quad Cities here, which is a
Mm-hmm.
45 minutes to an hour drive. So I didn't have to go all the way to Iowa City. And she was so helpful. We tried still a couple of times and we had two more miscarriages. And at that point, she goes, "You are my most infertile patient ever." And so by this time, my oldest is 4, and we're like, oh gosh, what's going on? We had so easily pregnant with her. So we had to be put on birth control for a while so that
Mm-hmm.
nothing would happen, so we could get through a couple of rounds of tests.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, we figured out from most likely from one of my ectopic pregnancies, it had scarred over one of the fallopian tubes, and that was causing
Oh, oh my
the
gosh.
these embryos not to attach
Mm-hmm.
properly and
Oh
causing the miscarriages.
my gosh.
So that was pretty rough. I was put on a wait list for a surgery that was 4 months long. But then a week later, the doctor calls and she's like, "We have a cancellation for the end of next week. Can you do it?" And I go, "Write me down for it. I'll figure it out." This
I'll
is the
find a
week.
way.
Yeah, this is 2 weeks before Christmas,
Oh God.
which if you guys
Yeah,
as
we get
owners
it.
know, that's when
Uh-huh.
everyone's trying to get in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so thankfully, like I called my staff together and I'm like, I really need to be out for this small procedure. I didn't really want them to know what at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys pick up this for me? And with the way the holidays fell, I think we had like a Monday, Tuesday off. So I had surgery on Friday. Then Saturday, Sunday, we were off Monday, Tuesday for the holiday. I came back to work in my satellite clinic for one day and then took the rest of the week off.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually good
And then we
timing
had
then,
surgery.
right?
So I had almost 2 weeks to heal
There you
before.
go.
And then, then we had to continue our journey on birth control and for a couple months to let me heal properly. And then a few months later, she gave us the go ahead to start trying again. And we had some different things we were trying. Like baby aspirin and,
Mm.
for clotting disorders, which my blood work didn't show, but she's like, it's not going to hurt you. And then some progesterone, which IVF, IUI, woman going through infertility knows progesterone is awful. But it
Mm,
helps so much. It helps that little embryo grow, 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 so it'll turn into a baby.
mm.
Um, and so a few months later, like a week before we were supposed to go back for a consultation, we got that positive pregnancy test. And now I have my 3.5-year-old.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Yes.
Look at
Yes,
That's a
I have
that.
lot,
a 10-year
though.
old and a 3.5-year-old. So patients like to comment, wow, yeah, that one was a surprise, wasn't it? And I go, nope, that one was fully planned.
Yeah.
That was
The first
well
one was
thought
a
out.
surprise. That
Yeah.
second one was very well planned.
Our patients, they don't hold back. They just
They
say,
don't.
Oh no, they'll
no,
say whatever they want
my
to,
kids are going to
right?
be 4 years apart. And they're like,
Yeah.
why did you have such a big age gap?
Yes.
It's like, well, ma'am, I opened a practice from the ground up. I had to get some money coming in first and build the
Yes.
walls. It's like, just
Yep.
hold on. It'll be okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Ours, I always try to be nice about it, but sometimes I don't want to be.
I know. I
And you hold
know.
it in your head. But
I
sometimes
know.
I'm like, yeah, it wasn't planned to be such a long gap, but we just had some hurdles along the way. And then that kind
Yeah.
of, it says it in a nice way that, yeah, I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about this.
That maybe gives them some self-reflection on their drive home.
Maybe you should be asking
But
that
I'll be
question.
honest, I love that I didn't have two in diapers at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This age gap really is kind of fun because the younger one loves the older one. The
So
younger
fun.
one can't steal the older one's clothes yet.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
That's true. When you're
It'll be a
close together, I
while.
had a sister that stole all my friends' clothes and my clothes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of fun to have two girls at very different ages, but it's so
Yeah.
fun to see them interact with each other.
Yeah.
And
So sweet.
we would have been very, very happy if our first was our only, but
Mm-hmm.
we felt
Mm-hmm.
our family was incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, as soon as my youngest Reagan was born, I looked at my husband and I go, we're done. Our family's complete. Like I
We
have
are
never
complete now.
once second
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
thought that we need another one.
Oh,
Um,
I love that.
Partially because of pregnancy so rough for
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
me. Reagan's pregnancy, I ended up with I had a subchorionic, I can't say that word, hemorrhage. So I would
Mm-hmm.
occasionally like bleed or spot, and that would, of course, from my history of miscarriages, completely
Yeah.
spiral me.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I had hyperemesis, so I was throwing up all the time, had to be
Oh,
on special medication and get IVs.
Oh
Lindsay, I think you've
gosh.
gone through some of that.
Yes, I
yeah.
was so sick the first 28 weeks or so. Yeah,
Yes,
it's terrible.
yes.
Yeah.
And then Reagan's pregnancy, I also developed gestational diabetes.
Oh,
To check
yeah.
my blood sugar twice a day or four
Mm,
times a day, and I
mm.
have to be on insulin twice a day. So my husband kind of knew
Yeah, this
That
is
was
this
good.
it.
was the
We're
last
good.
pregnancy I can handle, and I
No
was
boys
not
in
about
your
to.
horizon,
Yeah.
young man.
Yeah.
Yes. And he is so, so good and understanding about that. And he's the best girl dad. And
Uh-huh.
one of the things he's helped out a lot with the past 2 years is the girls' dance classes change time
Oh.
to where I can't get off work and get them to dance.
Mhm.
And so he gets both girls to dance or tumbling and make sure their hair is done how they need to and
Look at him
all of
go.
that.
Dance
Yes.
So good.
dad.
I
Yes.
know.
I
I
will
love
Oh,
them
that's
all
not
so
dead.
this
good.
work
Oh,
without a partner like
I
him.
know. I
yeah.
know.
You
I
That
know.
makes
know?
a big difference.
I
Yeah.
say that too. I say the same
Yeah.
thing.
But listen, thank you so much for just being willing to share your story about the chronic pain and about the infertility as you're running this legacy practice. It's a lot.
It is. It is.
And so
And
it just helps people realize, I think, that, with the right attitude and the right team that you can do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know sometimes I have imposter syndrome from not starting my own practice from scratch because I see what people have built. But then I remember I've got 7 locations that I pay rent and manage. I've got 14 employees that I manage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This
Who
is a big,
cares if you started it from
yes,
scratch? Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No need to have
Yeah.
imposter syndrome for that. It's like
No.
you had a great opportunity and you capitalized on others. Yeah, it's
yes,
fabulous. You build it your own way, I think. I think
Yes.
yes.
that's a story in
Yeah.
itself. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our rapid fire.
Okay, I'm ready.
I will start. So, what is one word that describes you?
Scrappy.
Ooh, I like
Scrappy. I didn't
that.
expect
We
that
haven't
one.
had that one yet, but I like that one.
scrappy.
What is a coffee order that gets you through the day? Or pop or water?
I okay. I am a beverage goblin. So I usually have three beverages on
Uh-huh.
my desk at
One of
once.
those.
So
Hmm.
I've got water, I've got cold brew with
Mm.
a splash of half and half, and then my collagen peptides stirred and
Ooh.
mixed in. That's
Oh.
been a new thing, and that has with the
Mm.
pain management. And then I usually
Oh.
have a either a Diet Coke, or a bubbler peach raspberry. It's kind
Mm.
of the antioxidant water. It's in the
Yum.
Midwest. You might find it, Lindsay, where you
Yum.
are.
Yeah, I feel like we have those at like Target. I love
Yes,
that.
the peach raspberry is the best.
Yum.
Hmm.
Yum.
A
Yeah, I
three beverage gal.
find myself being a beverage connoisseur. My office
Yes.
Yeah.
manager will come in and be like, "Are you done with any of these?" It's like, no,
Nope,
no, I'm not.
not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is a sound that makes you happy?
My girl's giggling.
love that.
Mm.
Yeah, the best, the best. What is the best advice you've ever received?
Ooh, that's a
I know
tough
it's
one.
a
I
loaded
think
one.
just keep going. I think,
Yeah,
Dory from Finding
Dory.
Nemo says
I was
best,
gonna
just
say
keep
Finding
swimming,
Nemo. Yeah, yeah.
you know?
Sometimes that's the way it feels. One
Yep.
foot in front of the other is what I tell people a lot.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
yep.
keep going.
Uh-huh.
What's a skill that you'd love to master?
I would love to learn how to knit.
Oh,
Mm, that would be
Um,
calming.
I really like different handcrafts, but that is something I have not been able to. I've attempted and it's not worked well. So,
Hmm. I would have no clue. No clue. Where do you see hearing healthcare in 10 years?
oh, I'd really like to see it more privately owned,
Hmm.
like our practices are, and being able to provide care in your personalized care in your communities.
Hmm.
I think we'll see more telehealth. I think we're going to see more tinnitus stuff.
Hmm.
yeah.
Um, I'd love to be able to prescribe medications for ear
Yeah.
infections.
Hmm.
Yep.
Um, things like that. Order CT scans, MRIs for different imaging studies to
Yeah.
see what's going on. Be more inclusive
Yeah.
Hmm.
of our
Practice more at the
health.
top of the scope,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yes. Although I
Hmm.
will never, ever do vertigo. I just can't. I'm a sympathy puker after hyperemesis, and I have I just can't. I can't even consider
Not
doing
for you.
vertigo. Yeah.
What's a warning label that you should come with?
Needs caffeine.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a fun one. I love that.
Yeah.
Don't let her get too far without her caffeine.
Yeah.
No,
What's
definitely not.
one thing people might be surprised to learn about you?
Um, I'm a quilter. I
Mm,
know a lot of folks
you can't knit,
in
but you
my
can
age gap.
quilt.
I
Oh my
can't knit,
gosh.
but I can quilt.
Can't
And
knit, but
there's
you can
actually a few
quilt.
of us audiologists in my
Do you
area
know
that are
Vanessa?
quilters.
Vanessa does quilting.
I don't, but Kendra out of Illinois is a quilter as well, and her and I have connected
Okay.
over that
Oh
quite
my
often.
gosh, how fun.
Yeah.
And then to close us out, I know I'm all about the B. Which B are you? Curious, brave, bold, kind, or happy?
I would say right now, be curious is
Mm,
just what leads my life in general.
mhm,
I want to learn more about lots of different things.
mhm.
Um, One of my superpowers is as having a diagnosed ADHD is I'm curious about everything
Yeah,
and I want
it's
to
a
know
good
more.
thing. Uh-huh. It's a good problem to have.
I like to
Yep.
know the whys.
Hmm.
So be
So does
curious.
Noelle. So does
Yeah.
Noelle. So for this week, our Be Curious segment, we were talking before we started recording about an email that some of us got from ADA yesterday about how ADA is really trying to lean into supporting state organizations. So keep your eyes and ears open. Be curious about what this is going to look like. But essentially, the price you pay to join your state organization, ADA will give you a discount off
I
of
love
their
that.
membership price to
Yeah.
join both organizations. So
So
it's
why
kind of a
not,
win-win.
right?
Why not join both, which is awesome.
Yes.
So yes, thank you so much for joining us on the Sound Sisters. You talked so openly about your journey. You have built such an awesome practice, a legacy practice at that, which I think is definitely something to be proud of. So thank you for spending time with us and sharing all of your story.
Yeah. And to our listeners, thank you for spending time with us. And until next time, keep learning, keep
Mhm.
growing, and always be curious. Thanks. And we'll see you next time on the
Thank
Sound
you.
Sisters.